So we're doing something kind of different at Pima Community College. We're trying to take a slightly different slant into working with IT and teaching IT. And so I'm fairly new to Elastic. We're just getting things going, and hopefully this will end up being kind of like a part 102 type deal, so that you can see what we're about to do and what we're going to go into and why. And then maybe at the next conference or something, we can do a part 2 and show you what's happened. So my name is Will McCullen. I'm the project manager for the IT Center of Excellence at Pima Community College. And just for a little bit of background, I used to be the director of cybersecurity and networks for the college. And my cohort in crime, Chris Bonhorst, who's the academic director, used to be the director of technical services. And we were kind of in this situation where we were kind of looking at how can we hire our own students. And because the standard difficulty that comes into play in IT, of course, is if you don't have experience. And we weren't able to hire students from almost anywhere, so because they didn't have experience. So here's where we came up with the IT Center of Excellence. And our whole culture is kind of based around this statement: leave your ego at the door, right? I don't know what it is in this industry that folks at times seem to feel that they need to hold their tail higher than the rest, right? But we kind of want to break down that whole concept between teacher and student and turn it much more into peers working together to help make things work. So for just a little bit of history here, at Pima Community College, we're working to build this center of excellence, right? And we're kind of doing that across the college so that across our many campuses, we can pull together the resources that we need. And we had this fantastic opportunity to connect with a group called the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range. They're also the National Cyber Warfare Foundation, and they're a very unique group. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization that works very closely with three-letter acronym organizations. And their mission and their goal in creating a cyber range is to help create capable cyber warriors, which worked very well with us in our mission. Our mission at the college is to reach out to folks in the community. We try to keep our costs very, very low so that students aren't trying to pay off student loans in their 40s, right? And if students have the interest and the aptitude and are willing to work hard, they can completely change their lives for the better. That's what we're after. And with teaming up with the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range, the hope is to help save the nation by creating folks that can enter into the cyber world and make a difference, right? So to do that, in the Center of Excellence, we've built a student-run data center. So to be able to create an atmosphere where students can get experience, I'm sure most of you have come across this before, where if you want to have interns come into your organization, it's kind of difficult to hand them administrative credentials, right? Because you have compliance, you have audit, and also you don't really want them to take down production. So our solution to that was to build a data center with its full complexities. We have it front-ended with Palo Altos and Juniper switches across the top of the rack, and we have built large VMware clusters and are operating on proper disciplines of stage development, prod, and development, so that students are picking up those good data center habits and understanding those complexities. And so when students come into our program or into my class, for example, we can say, Okay, you want to do a project? How about, you know what we could use right now? We could use, say, a Red Hat server to do satellite to help take care of that. Here, that's your project. And then students can say, I've never done that. You say, great, welcome to IT. Let's go for it. Give a start, do what you can, and then when you hit your head against the wall, then we can come and help out and continue to grow through there. We've also built a cyber fusion center area because in what we're trying to do also, we want to reach out to other areas of the college, like the medical, law enforcement, all those kind of deals, so that we can combine cyber into all these areas and help bring awareness. And we also have a cybersecurity operations center to where we want to do threat analysis. And this is where Elastic has generously come in to help us, to where we are going to use Elastic to build our SIEM environment for that. But the whole concept that we're building here is that we'd like to become a nexus for the city of Tucson, to where cyber professionals who want to come in and work in the Arizona cyber warfare range, build their skills in that arena. Anyone in the community can come and spend time at the Arizona cyber warfare range for free and learn how to hack. Right? And so we'll have industry professionals coming in there as well as general public. And then students have mentors they can work with, and hiring takes place. And we're working with K-12 and programs. In Tucson, we have some major corporations to help out and work with Raytheon, IBM, and then up the street we have Tech Data. So it's a really fantastic environment that is building, and students are having a great time. So where Elastic comes into play in all of this is that the Cyber Warfare Foundation also is an ISAL, an information sharing organization. So if you're familiar with indicators of compromise, right, that's where when the bad guys try to come against your firewall or systems, right, your systems create logs and that goes to a SIEM. Everyone's pretty comfortable with that. So the main thing that you have taking place there is that organizations can see their own events. So they take a baseline and look for those things that are different, right? Well, the Arizona National Cyber Warfare Foundation has a feed of indicators of compromise that are enormous and international. And they are going to be making those feeds available to Pima Community College, which is for us kind of a pinch me is this real situation, right? So that the whole concept that we're building up is that as students learn in the environment and go through the classes, they can also go into the data center, learn business best practices, learn how to set things up, and then they can go over to the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range and learn how to break them, right? So just as we don't train cops with squirt guns, we need to change that in our minds a bit with cyber. So then also adding to that, being able to take feeds and throw analysis of indicators of compromise that are international. Hopefully, we can build an environment with all that put together to where students will be able to start creating actionable intelligence that we can hand back to the industry at large and make a difference, right? But then students will be able to work on information that is real, pertinent, and happening now, right? And so with a combination of those feeds coming in, which we're only limited by our bandwidth because they can provide gigs of indicators of compromise, but we'll be bringing that in-house. We have servers already allocated and storage to where then we can start using that information to draw these correlations. This is our student-run data center area. So we've built it up to where we have let's see if I can bring my mouse over here, where we have racks in play, and then an outside area, which you see down here, where the students can work outside the data center. So they can come in, set up the racks, set up the environments, and then collaboratively work together to help do that. For anyone who's worked in a data center, right? One, it's cold, and two, it's loud. So it's nice to have a room just outside, and also workbenches where they can install RAM and work on the servers and all that kind of stuff, right? But the whole concept is that we make it entirely student run. The entire center of excellence is all segmented from the rest of the college. It has its own internet feed. The students maintain the classrooms, the students maintain the desktops, and they maintain the entire infrastructure. So the whole thing becomes one solid big lab, right? And the students have read access to the firewalls. The students have the ability to monitor and check, and we're trying to develop that environment where they can learn and grow, right? And then this is our fusion area where we can have that, and that's connected directly with our CSOC. So there's a glass wall that can accordion back to where then between the two rooms we have operations and war room, or defend and attack, or a class with operations, and next door a class about what's happening with the operations, to try and maximize that flexibility. And then also be able to accept the events per second that are coming against the cyber warfare range, as well as elements with the corporate cyber range, which is also an incredible environment. So in the cyber range itself is where students can come and the community can come. It has a small data center on its own, so kind of a shoot from the hip data center environment where students can put in and rack equipment. You can sit down at the, let's see, did I include? No, I didn't. You can also sit down at the workstations and hack the person next to you. You can work on denial of service attacks. They've set up evil twin attacks with wireless. And then with the principles that they learn in those man-in-the-middle attacks and evil twin attacks, they've actually gone to found in eating establishments those same type of attacks and hacking taking place. This is where, in the nation as a whole, in our mind, we need to have folks that have actually worked with stuff and can recognize and start to take a different mindset on how can I defend that, because instead of just looking at how can I defend that, they start off with how would I attack that. And in our mind, if you haven't really tried or done any work to try to hack, it's harder to know how to defend, and it's harder to really get that good understanding. And if we can do that and also build all that networking functionality and then bring that through with the Elasticsearch SIEM into a realm with national feeds, our view and our hope is that when we pull all that together, that can make a difference, that can produce students that when they come through, they can then go forth and say, yes, I can be a benefit to your company. Here are some things that we've done. You know, when a student sits down, I don't know how many of you have hired and worked to hire in the past, right? That if you've had any students come through and say, tell me what you've done. Tell me what kind of experience you've had, and have them say, well, I've got a home lab and I did, whatever. we hope to have a situation where students can then answer that question with items like, well, we had one of our hosts in our VMware cluster go down and several hundred workstations all had to migrate to the other hosts. Then we could put it back into play, reconfigure, connect with a SAN, right? How many of you would prefer to hire that type of student and somebody who's actually worked with that? And then maybe even say, yeah, and then we also hacked that environment and found some of those weaknesses. So that, boy, that brought home the need for being able to patch and the need for being able to watch the firewall and monitor and keep track of what's happening. That drove that point home really well, right? So that's a little bit in that arena. I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping good breast of time here. Also, along with that, we've had the pleasure of having some pretty incredible speakers come through and folks coming on their own dime to take part in what we're doing. Chris Roberts, some of you may know him as the plane hacker. He's also hacked NASA, the Mars rover, had it playing God Save the Queen. Freddie Mercury's God Save the Queen one morning. He's hacked into ocean liners and all sorts of stuff. Brett Scott, who is the founder of the National Cyber Warfare Foundation. He's also a nation state level hacker, has been very much involved in taking part. And we've had all sorts of fantastic events, capture the flags, targets that we can hit on a weekly basis, and students starting to develop their own capture the flags that they can host in the environment. We've got a student club that's like 200 members strong and is bringing in folks from the community. It's just been taking off and has just been fantastic. And I love our students dearly. We also do events around town, elements like SheTech, Cyber Patriot, working with the career and technical educators, and hosting elements to bring into K-12 and bring those elements forth to say, hey, you can have a career in cyber if you have an aptitude, an interest, willing to work hard. Come and check it out. Come and take part. And you can first start by coming to the range and just hanging out and trying to do troubleshooting and things along those lines. Try some of those. And if you like it, great. Come and join us. But if you don't like it, before you even spend a dime, you've had an opportunity to come and check out IT hands-on in a straightforward manner that way. And then with our IT curriculum, I just threw the slide in. I don't know if we have any that are out there that are really interested in how the curriculum aspects take place, but we try to weave into our program elements for A+, Net+, Sec+, for the Red Hat certifications, and as well as law and ethics classes. And when we pulled together businesses, they really surprised us by saying, hey, you also need to have a project management class. Not that your students will be coming in as project managers, but that when they hit into our organization, they're going to immediately be involved in a project. So they need to understand what that sounds like, looks like, and feels like. And so we kind of are trying to pull all that together and then add that along back with the whole concept of our model. That's what we're trying to pull together. So now the next wonderful task for me is to help develop that SIEM environment and to bring up the feeds and bring that into play. So we're excited, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun, but a heck of a lot of work. So in a nutshell, that's what we're about.